Welcome back. In this video, it's going to be relatively shortish. I'm going to do both the Bolt camera and the C-Sharp camera in this video. So I just want to kind of show you how we're going to set up the camera so we can use it and allow the camera to just follow and just add some extra functionality for like any of the other kind of projects you want to use. This is a very basic camera. There's no orbiting around the player, none of that kind of stuff, none of that jazz. It's just a very simple camera. So we're going to right click and start with a new camera script. Let's just call this camera, let's call it simple. There we go, camera follow. There we go, simple camera follow, allowed it to recompile. I'm going to grab the simple camera, attach it to the camera itself. I'm going to open up the script. Don't know why it opened up on the other window. And we're going to do a few things here. So we're going to obviously update the camera at the start, but I want to, at the start of the game, I want to make a serialized. Doesn't have to be serialized, just needs to be private. A private variable. The one is going to be for the camera, and the other one, sorry, it doesn't need to be camera, it just needs to be a transform, actually a vector3. What am I doing? I'm thinking, let's call it camera offset. And the next one is going to be a transform, and this one's going to be player ref or reference if we want to type the entire word. At the start, we need to get these. So at the start, we're going to say, okay, the camera offset is equal to this because this is the camera. So go transform.position. And the player, we're going to go player ref is equal to, and we're going to say find object of, apologies. We're going to go and say game object, wrong game object, game object dot find object of tag. Object with tag, and then the tag is going to be player, like the standard Unity player. So we're going to find the player in the scene, and we are going to dot transform. I have my blonde moments again. Okay, so now that we have the reference to the player and to the current offset, we can go in and do the following. So we're going to need a few serialized fields. The first one's going to be a boolean for follow Z. So do we or do we not follow the, wow, follow Z? And I'm going to duplicate this 2 more times. The next one is going to say, do we follow hold the phone, having a blonde moment again. Yes, so it's going to be follow, do we want to follow YZ? And then the last one is, do we want to follow XYZ? So we're asking if we want to follow in these directions. So we're going to go if, and we're going to do if follow is true. I guess we could do a switch statement, I guess, or an enum. Okay, I'm not going to over confuse the situation, so we're going to keep it nice and simple. So we're going to just use if statements. And this one is going to be follow YZ, follow XYZ. And I just realized I named these variables with uppercase, so I just want to rename them to have underscore follow. And same thing with this one. Sorry, it will bug the crap out of me if I don't do it now. There we go. And now we have all of these and how they're going to behave in relation to whether it should follow the Z position, whether it should follow the XY position or not. So over here, it's going to be simple. We're going to go, and we're not doing any kind of lerping here. We're just going to do a straightforward transform.position equal to and what is it equal to? We're going to go a new vector3, and we only care about in this case, the Z position. So we're going to grab the current transform dot position dot x, comma transform dot position dot y. And then the last one, that's the one we care about. So we're going to go and say transform dot position dot z plus camera offset x. Am I having a blonde moment? Oh no, having a blonde moment. So yes, the only offset we care from here is the dot z offset. So we just got to be aware of that. So, and then that's now we can. The last one is going to be really easy. So we're going to go transform dot position is equal to transform dot position plus camera plus camera offset. So that's, and then next is we're going to just actually copy this line of code, duplicate it, move it down here. And now we care about doing the Y and the Z position. So I'm going to copy this last little bit of code, go copy and replace this. Actually, just grab the plus onwards, plus here, and change this to Y position, and that should do it. So this is going to be our very, very basic camera script. So we're going to save that, go back to Unity and suss out what we've broken or what we've gotten working, and then we'll do the same thing in Bolt. So now that we have the camera here, we can decide how do we want this to move? Do we want it to follow in the Z? In this case, it makes no difference. I'm going to, because of this specific one, but we'll assign the script to each of the levels and show you. Okay, hold on. Hold on, that's weird. Transformed opposition is equal to transformed opposition plus camera offset. That should not have done some weird stuff. Oh wait, yeah, that's truth. So true. Only if it's true. Apologies for that pop-up from Discord. No, that should be right. Let me comment any of this code out just to see what could be causing the issue, but there's no reason why that should have happened the way it did. Oh wait, no, it is tagged as player, so it is finding the player, and it is. Let's just see what's happening. Wow, camera. Oh wait, let me just see if I. There is some wonky stuff happening here. Let's uncomment this and let's see what the other ones do. So I'm going to just do the Z position. What in the actual is happening? Let's just see what's happening here. So I'm just going to comment all of this out and just do something real quick. Go transform the position of the camera, which the script is on. So it's equal to transform dot position plus camera offset. So let's just see if a standard, that should be no reason why that shouldn't work. Because we are finding the player clearly, or at least I think clearly. I don't know what's happening with this camera here. Just double checking there's no other player. That's player, that's player. The current offset, which is nothing. It's really insignificant amount. This should have absolutely no effect. Okay, give me a second. Okay, figured it out. I'm having a dumb moment. So if we, for example, the last one here shouldn't be transform.position, should be player reference.position. And just for these ones at the top here, so where it says transform.x, we're just going to use camera offset.x. And that one can stay as player ref position.y, and same thing over here, player ref. So I was using, no wonder we were always grabbing the current position and just keep adding the offset. So that's why it was doing some weird stuff. So I'm just replacing all the wrong ones. And then this one here should just be camera offset.y, player position plus camera offset, and then camera offset plus position. Yeah, that should do it. Okay, so now that we figured out that it was human error, coding was doing exactly what it was told to do. So let's start by doing a standard all of the objects move at the same time as it follows. There we go. Okay, so that works. So let's assign the script to one of the other scenes. So we're going to assign it to the swerving code bolt, and then we're just going to assign, we'll add the bolt camera to the bolt scenes and and vice versa. So where is my, am I losing my mind? I don't see my camera script. What? Definitely having a moment. There we go, simple camera. Okay, so we have our simple camera, and in this case, watch what happens if we say follow in all directions. Okay, we should get an error. We don't actually, because there we go. So we don't want that in this specific case. We essentially do want it to, we need to remember it's offsetting by a certain amount. So I'm going to go like, I think it's 2.2, so I can get the correct offset. Because remember, the camera takes this value and adds the player value in the Y, 0.5 on top of that. So just always keep aware of that. Okay, so in this case, I just wanted to actually just follow in the Z. That way, if follow Z is true, then why are we doing what we're doing? We are doing stupid things. So if it's the Z, then this should actually be there as well. So we don't need it to follow at all. And then this one is following the Y. That's right. And then that's all three. Okay. So that should resolve that issue. Again, it's just been a long day of making video after video, and there we go. So now the camera follows the character, but it does not actually move side to side. We could maybe even in this case just allow some forward and up and down movement in case when I do the jump the camera can follow a little bit more. There we go. So we've applied that to the resizing, the swerving, and then we'll assign that as we go. I see that there's this camera follow controller script here. What does this have actually? We'll delete it anyway and we'll recreate it. So let's just delete that. And let's go to one of the scenes. Let's start with this one actually, the swerving bolt. And let's set up the camera there. So I'm also going to set up a 2.2 in height just to compensate for the upward movement. And we're going to add a flow machine here, and we're going to just inside here we're going to create a new script, and in here we're going to call this simple camera follow. the edit graph button. There's my graph. That's why it never popped up initially. And again, like we did earlier on in the code, we're just going to delete this. We're going to have the update. And in the update, we're just going to put in a sequence node that allows us to do things in sequence. Holy crap. It has definitely gotten a lot slower. There we go. And when we update, we're going to check to see a few things. We're going to do a branch. Let's try that again. And we're going to duplicate that 2 more times because we want to see what we should be doing based on what we've decided to be on. Now, this isn't the smartest system because you could have 2 of them ticked on and then you're going to get some really undesirable results. So be aware of that. I would probably be very careful when doing that. Okay, so this is where you're going to want to copy the camera essentially into your scene. When you're using object variables, they don't translate across, only the graph variables go through. So in this case, I'm actually just going to put them in the scene variable. So I'm going to put this, let's call this follow Z boolean, follow YZ boolean, and the last one is going to be a follow XYZ boolean. I'll show you why now, why I'm going to be saving this in the scene variables. It's just going to make it neater to use. So I'm going to say if this is true, if this is true, and if this is true. So we're going to give ourselves a little bit of room to work with here. And in the graph, we need to create 2 variables. Remember, we need one for the player ref, which is going to be a transform. And the other one is going to be a camera offset, which is going to be a vector 3. And before we do anything here, we're going to hit start. So at the start of the game, we're going to alt drag both of these in. Plug them in to get their default settings or their default locations. So in this case, where is the current camera position? So we're going to type in transform.position. Wow. Let's try that again. Position. And we're going to plug that into there. So we're getting the position. Then the player ref, we're going to do a game object dot find with tag. I'm going to plug that in there. And what are we finding? We're looking for player. So and then that's it. So at the, let's say at start get player reference and camera offset position. There we go. So that's what's happening at the beginning of the game, and then obviously we're just going to go straight into here and do that. So we're going to start with the easiest one, which is the bottom one. Bottom one, we're going to drag out and type in transform.position set, and we're going to be setting the position based on the current on the transform.position. Let's not make the mistake I made in the code, and we're going to add camera offset and plug that into there. So that's going to work. So this is going to be our XYZ follow. And up here, we're going to do the exact same thing, but we are going to need to do a few things here. We're going to actually need to we're going to just duplicate this. This one is going to be X and Y and Z. So let's just move that down. So we're going to need to break this out so we can get the X, Y, and Z separate. The Z is going to stay, the X is going to use the current camera offset because we don't need to follow the X. So we're going to go vector3.x and plug that into the X. And for the other two, we are going to be using again the transform dot player ref. So get the player reference, or you could have just dragged in there like, and we're going to do a v3.y. Then we're just going to duplicate these two and replace this one with a v3.z. And we're going to be adding that along with the camera offset. So again, the camera offset needs to get its, actually just duplicate that node. And duplicate this node and plug it like that. So we're getting both the X, the Y, and the Z position from the offset, and we're going to be adding it. So we're going to add these two together. We're going to duplicate that, and we're going to add those two together. And we're going to plug the Y into the Y and the Z into the Z. Okay, so we're pretty much almost there. So this one's going to be the Y and Z movement. And just to speed things up, I'm just going to duplicate all of this. I'm going to use it up here, and then we'll just tweak what we need. So we do not need, all we need in this one is going to be the Z position. So we don't need this. All we need here is, I'm just going to duplicate this node, plug this into here, and plug that into there. There we go. And this goes over here. And we're going to drag this and put a comment group around it just for the time being, and call it, we can just rename it afterwards. Call this Z follow. And this one should have been YZ follow. There we go, and that's it. So let's see. Oh wait, I should have put this inside of, zoom in to get the correct scale. And let's just reorganize these so they don't look horrible. Just move down a little bit, move this one back up. And then all we need to do now is test to see how this works. Okay, so when you create scene variables, you'll see that there's a scene variable that gets added automatically when you add, you do it to, you add to, let's just say, bolts. So just for safety's sake, I'm going to drag the scene variables into my prefabs, and then what I'm going to do is whenever I add this camera to a new scene, I'm just going to drag this scene variables prefab to that scene. So let's see what happens when we do X, Y, and Z follow. It should follow all the movements, so left, right, up, down, all of that stuff. So should follow. Okay, it's not finding the player, so we need to make sure it is tagged as player. Let's try that again. There we go. Okay, and then obviously we can, the way we want to set this one would be to not make it that, but make it just follow the Z. Actually, we can just make it do that. Like I said, in case we add the jumping, or we just reposition the camera to be in a better place. Oh, okay. What have I done wrong? Show me the error. No, wrong way. Show me the error. Oh, yes, yeah. We can't just directly do that. That was very, very stupid. So I'm gonna, where is it? There is a transform to position there. I'm gonna grab that, and we just need to be smart about this, and just we need to remember it's a transform, so it doesn't know that what I'm trying to grab. So I'm just gonna replace all the mistakes I made, duplicate those, plug that into there. I assume I've done it up here as well. Yep, there. And that should do it. Now we will not get any, cannot convert a transform to a vector 3 errors. There we go. And that is how we're going to set up our camera so we can use it. And again, just to show you how we're going to set this up in the other scene, I'm going to open up my resize bolt. There is my camera. It's got something already on it, so I'm going to remove that. Remove this. And I'm going to add the flow graph, this flow machine, and I'm going to look for my camera script, my simple camera. And remember, the scene event here, so I'm going to delete this scene variables and just drag this one in, and I'm going to set this one to follow in all directions and make sure my player is tagged as player, and we are good to go. There we go. Now it works. We have two working scenes with the same camera, and I think thinking ahead, this camera should do the work for all of them, but we'll probably come back and revisit this camera. But thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your patience. This has been a rough day of videos, so thank you for kind of bearing through the brunt of it. Be safe and see you at the next video.